Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Entertainment Now podcast. My name is Nick,
I'm Ian.
and I'm I guess I should make a confession to start.
Uh-oh.
So we normally put, or I normally put, all the videos for the podcast up on YouTube because the Entertainment Now podcast has its own YouTube channel.
Right.
I was on vacation for like a week, so a couple episodes didn't make it up on there. I finally have them all up on there.
Okay.
But I still need to finish like doing thumbnails for a couple of them. So the last couple of weeks will be up. Hopefully by the time this video is up, but
they're available in your podcatchers, but as far as YouTube stuff, there might be a little delay, is what you're saying.
There is a delay, but hopefully I will have at some point this week, I will have all of them up. It'll be fixed. But so if you're watching this on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up, drop a comment down below, all the fun YouTube-y kind of stuff. If you go on Spotify, if you go on Apple, leave us a 5-star review. I will say that Ian finally has a new computer, so his screen doesn't look all funky and
right
caught up. He was recording on you're recording on your iPad, so or your tablet. Sorry. Right. I don't want to make the non-Apple guy mad.
Oh, it would make me mad. I mean, I've made the mistake before too, just because iPad.
Of not buying an Apple? Yeah, you're right.
Well, no. Mistake. By calling a tablet an iPad because, it's kind of like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand name. It's not. It's facial tissue.
Correct.
But sometimes that language filters into everything else.
Into the lexicon.
Yeah. So, I've gotten a lot better about it, but in the early days, it was tough to make the distinction.
Yeah, I will say the camera you've got on this computer, I think, is a lot better than the camera on your old computer. Because your old computer, you look really kind of grainy.
Yeah, see, I still don't like it. I think I want a better camera, but
I think it looks fine.
I don't know. Buying everything all at once was kind of expensive, so I had to go slightly lower end. Yeah. Once I get things paid off and all that, I can make a better purchase on a camera if I decide I want.
Yeah. So what's been going on, Ian? Not that it's only been 24 hours since I've seen you, so
right. Well, yeah, but it could be several weeks since someone else saw me.
That's true.
Sadly, nothing has changed.
Wait, is that a fucking dig because I don't have the goddamn videos up on YouTube? Is that what it is? Because you said it's been a few weeks since people have seen you. So
not necessarily. I mean,
okay.
You could take it aside.
I could take it that way.
Maybe someone just hasn't watched us in a couple weeks and they come across this video and they go, "Oh, there's that guy. I haven't seen him in a couple weeks."
Yeah. There's that goofy bastard that comes on there and talks and does nothing else. Okay.
Yeah, if they say goofy bastard, they're probably being nice.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's I guess there's worse things that you could be called. You could be called what was that comment that I got? I got bald head, fat arms, loud mouth, or something like that. The YouTube comment.
I mean, none of that's necessarily untrue.
Very true. Very true.
So it's more the spirit in which it was meant.
Yeah.
Rather than the accuracy of the statement.
Very, very true. I will say that so my oldest son Jack, his school, they didn't have a theater program for like 15 years. And then last year they hired a new teacher, a new music teacher. She started or restarted their theater program. Last year they did High School Musical. They did a really good job with it. Mm-hmm. So this year they're doing Footloose, and the premiere was last night, and it was absolutely fantastic. They did a great job. The kid that played Ren is actually kind of parallels the movie. He's from like Washington State. He's from some big city in Washington State and just moved to our fucking hillbilly hick little town. So he's got a lot of parallels because Ren came from Chicago to Beaumont, and there's a lot of parallels between Beaumont and the little town I live in also.
Right.
Which is so, and that's why it's like, so I guess let me kind of go into the other area of the conversation I wanted to talk about was, so they've been practicing this play for 5 months, I think, something like that, since the very beginning of the year. Or it might have been, I think auditions were before Christmas last year. So it's been a while. They've been working on this play. And then last week, there was a complaint made because there was cursing. There was cursing. Oh no.
Not even the big kind of cursing either.
Yeah, there was I think there's one time they said shit, and like one time they said hell. There's like shit, hell, and damn are the only things that were said in this. And I think my son's the character my son played said like 3 of the 5 times or whatever it was. But there was a complaint made, so they had to remove that language from the play. And I was like, hold on, so let me get this straight. You're censoring a play that's about non-censorship.
Well, that's attacking censorship of the sort. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So I thought that was very ironic. I thought I was actually pretty pissed when I heard about that, but that's in the town I live in, it's not surprising. But my first thought was, well, hell, the last performance, just do it like you've practiced it for months.
Right.
But from what I was told,
it would probably fall back on the teacher.
It would fall back on the teacher. I think the person that made the complaint has some connections here in the town I live in. So I would fear that she could possibly lose her job over it if they were to do it. Because
that's a situation
because that's the kind of town I live in.
Yeah, that's a situation where I think I would make a trip to a school board meeting, and not point out, not be all, we need to change this, but more like, let's bring this to their attention that, first of all, one person should not be dictating anything that goes on in school.
But you have to remember,
second, that your concern, what you consider to be vulgar, is not what most people consider to be vulgar.
Yeah.
And you need to, understand that this is a big world, and your feelings are not the only feelings that are at play here. Plus, it's censorship, and you're talking about a school. But then again, we live in a world right now where censoring education is
and that's kind of where I was going to when you brought up the whole school board, because a majority of the people on our school board ran on critical race theory and yes, attacking critical race theory, and saying the teachers were indoctrinating children and all sorts of stupid shit. That's why when you said going to the school board, I'm like, it's pointless to even do that.
I'd still do it just to be an asshole.
Yeah.
If I lived in Dundee, even if I didn't have children, I would still go.
Yeah.
I would be there. Just sometimes some days I'm just itching for a fight.
Yeah, is that what it is?
Yeah. So if they had a school board meeting on a day that I'm itching, I'd probably be there. So
we even there was a school board member that I know this has absolutely nothing to do with the topic that we're talking about today, but there was a school board meeting not too long ago where I don't remember what the big argument was, but one of the school board members had some like crazy right-wing activist come from like the Dearborn area to come and like shout at school board members that she opposed on the school board. Like, I don't think you realize the level of craziness in my fucking town.
No, I think I got a pretty good idea based on what you've described to me.
Yeah.
And I see the signs in yards, so I understand.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But as far as like censorship goes, especially when it comes to like, I don't know, I've never been a fan of censorship, especially when it comes to like music and stuff. Even when my kids were little, I would listen to like the most obscene shit in the car with my kids. That's just how I am. I've ever since like I'm trying to remember. I think it was when I got a copy of GNR Lies. So I was probably like 9 years old when I got that. 9 or 10, something like that. And I was so pissed because my mom took my cassette, and remember you could take tissue paper or whatever and stuff tissue paper in the holes in the top.
or just masking tape or scotch tape would do it.
Yeah. And she like bleeped out all the curse words on the damn thing. I was so fucking mad. It's like, why would you ruin my fucking album? And that's, like I said, I was like 8, 9 years old, whatever it was, 9 or 10. But
I was pretty lucky. I wasn't censored very much. I
No.
really, I mean, at all, to be completely honest. I mean, if we were watching a movie or something, and my parents were aware there was a sex scene coming up, they might, hey, leave the room for a minute or so.
Yeah.
We'll tell you when you come back. But if they weren't aware of it, it just came and went. And then after a while, just
Yeah.
got to the point where I was seeing more movies than they were, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But my music was never censored ever.
No. And that's the thing I've always laughed about my wife is my wife doesn't know the real lyrics to songs.
Because she always got the edited version.
Yeah, she always got the edited version. I remember there was not too long ago, I think it was a couple summers ago, she pulled out one of my Tupac records. It was playing Tupac upstairs on the record player. I was like shocked at the length. I'm like, man, you're listening to fucking Tupac. Like, what the hell?
This isn't the Tupac I remember.
Yeah. What are these lyrics? What the hell is he talking about? Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, but I listen to. I don't know. Like I said, I don't believe in censor, especially when it comes to music. Like that's what
just in general.
That's what they have a parental advisory sticker for. Like,
right.
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
I'm fine with like, that's what we have ratings on movies for. If you don't want your kids to see a R-rated movie, don't fucking take them because they can't go in.
Right. And the same thing with the play, with the musical your son did. Just put it in an advisory. Some you could, I don't know you wouldn't call it adult language, but I guess you could
no.
At least put a little warning on there.
I wouldn't even say that. Like I understand, like, so the very first, like the first time they performed the play was for the school. So you have a bunch of elementary kids there. If you want to change the language in that performance, that's fine. But when you do like the real nighttime performance for all the parents and adults in the damn town, there's no need to do that. I guarantee every single person in that fucking room said the same language within the last week.
Right. Probably in that day. Maybe even while they were there, chatting with each other.
They're like, fuck the fucking fuckers.
Right. Well, I mean, there is one side. I mean, it's not just Republicans, but there is a do as I say, not as I do mentality when it comes to most governmental agencies.
That's not even a governmental thing. That's that's most people.
Right. But I was going to say, at least on a governmental level, I think it gets worse as you go down into more local governments. Because there's less people you have to worry about, so you have a little bit more.
There's less accountability.
And less accountability.
Yeah.
In most cases. I mean, there's some cases if you really fuck up, you could have the whole town with pitchforks, banging on your door. But
I don't think not anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, no, but
I think it takes a lot.
It does. So
especially when you live in a small town like I do. But I don't know. That was the excitement going around here. But the funny thing was, like, there was one point where my son Jack was supposed to say shit, and he said, "What, sugar, honey, iced tea, or some shit like that?" I was like, "Where the hell did you get that hillbilly shit from?"
Yeah, I never heard that one before.
I never heard that one before either. But
I the only one that I know like that is just see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday, which I say that all the time.
Yeah,
because people get mad when you call them cunts.
I guess it depends on who you're calling a cunt and why you're calling them a cunt.
Yeah, stop being so cunty. But
well, I mean, there are some people you just have to, but it is a word that bothers the vast majority of people. So
you know what? People get bothered by the dumbest shit though. Like people hate the word moist. I don't know why.
I don't get that one. I've been watching the show Letterkenny. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
It's not really a show that I probably should like, but I kind of like it. And there is an episode where they were basically playing off of that, where the one girl was, someone said moist, she goes, I don't like that fucking word, and so they just kept like using it like, in other ways to kind of piss her off. And then the next one was like, what was the next word? I don't know, but it was, they did that with a bunch of different words, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That's the one, like that. And I know a lot of people hate the word panties also, which
yeah, I never understood that one either.
never understood that one either. Like when my daughter was little, we'd tell her to go put her panties on. Like, I don't know. I didn't realize that. I mean, I know for a long time people hate the word moist. I didn't realize till within the last few years that people hate the word panties also.
Right, because we worked with somebody who hated that word.
We work with multiple people that hate both of those words.
Really? Well, I understand the moist part, but I don't know. I don't understand.
Panties.
It's a descriptive word, and it generally is not used in a derogatory way. So I have no idea why that's such a
Or what, panties?
no, moist.
Moist. Yeah, it's not really. I mean, I think
Wow,
most
this
of the time it's not used in a sexual way.
right. That's what I'm saying.
And that's
Ooh,
where people
this
have.
cake is moist.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. You're not saying your crotch is moist. Like,
No, because usually if your crotch is moist, you're talking about like swamp ass. Yeah.
Oh, that's true, I guess.
You know,
Also, but
you're using more specific
yeah,
descriptive terms
I just
about
think
it.
it's like the sexual connotation that they put on the word that
But
they have
that's
an
their
issue.
but see, that's their problem. That's not the person saying it, unless the person saying it is using it that way. But if
Yeah,
you're just
which like
if you refer to
like
this cake as
and
moist, and like, I don't like that word, you're the one putting the the sexualization on it, not the
yeah.
person who originally said it.
And if you really think about it, like what kind of situations are there where you as a person is saying the word moist to somebody else in a sexual way?
I don't know,
Because
because
like
I'm not a creep.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Right.
normal people don't use that fucking word in that way. Like,
No. I can't
hey,
even think of
hey,
using
baby,
that
are
word.
you moist? Like,
Right. Yeah, I can't
if you
even.
say that phrase, you probably have bodies in your backyard.
Well, yeah, I mean, or you're hoping to.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
because I can't even think of like, dirty talk kind of I
Where
can't
you
even.
would use the word moist.
Yeah, it just doesn't roll off the
No,
tongue
no.
in that sense, as a natural
Yeah.
in a
Hey,
natural way.
baby, take off your moist panties. Like,
Right. Oh
that's
God.
gross. You sound like a fucking pedophile.
That's what I'm saying. When you do use it in a sexualized way, it's not
Yeah.
sexy, and it's not even just like, ooh, naughty. It's just gross.
Yeah.
It's just
And I
gross to
guess
use it that
maybe
way.
because I have kids and that's when I've used it the most. But when I think of the word panties, I think of children. So, like,
Right. I mean, I just think of women.
I would never say to an adult, will these your panties? Like, I don't know. Like,
See, I just, girls wear panties, boys wear underwear. That's how it's always.
I guess.
That's how it always was when I was a kid, I guess. But
Yeah, I
that's,
guess. So that's why I said maybe just because I have kids and been
yeah,
through all that,
maybe.
but I don't know. It's just really weird that people hate those words.
The Brits just call them your undergarments are pants, and your
Yeah,
pants are trousers.
yeah. Well,
So
they say all sorts of stupid fucking things over there, but
eh, you could argue that we say the stupid things because they're the ones who started the language.
it
Eh,
doesn't mean anything.
eh. It's like saying the original is worse than the remake is better than the original.
Dude,
It's very, very rare.
if you go through like a list of like, I guess it's not real like British or English proper words, but like English slang is fucking dumb. Like a lot of it is really fucking dumb.
I like it because it's my language. I'm
It's not your
partial.
language.
It is language I've been raised with. It's my language.
No, no. When I say English, I mean like British English.
Oh, I like British slang and all that. I think it's,
British slang is fucking dumb. Like a lot of it
eh,
is fucking dumb.
eh, I like it.
Sorry to anyone that's listening to this in England,
Well,
but
hey, I Nick's statements do not represent my opinion. So
Whatever.
at least in this case.
Whatever.
So, I like
cut,
British slang.
I'll cut that part out. I do all the editing, so
You're a dick.
you're just not realizing that, Ian?
You know what? No, you're a cunt.
Oh,
That's a cunt thing to do.
Oh, put your moist panties back on, Ian.
Right. Oh god, that you made it dirty. You made it dirty.
Now Ian hates those words.
No, I just hate him. I hate just like with anything else. It's like it's all in how it's used. You know?
Oh yeah. And that's like going back to the whole play. And I had this conversation with Mandy when I found out about this. I'm like, shit and damn, they're just words. Like, why are people so fucking offended by words?
Right. Words are not bad in and of themselves. It's how they're used. It's always the case.
There's a couple of words that are bad
right.
I can think of, but
the exception being certain hateful words that are their entire existence is to denigrate or to be hateful. For example, the N-word, for example, is that's a word that is bad in and of itself. But
the funny thing is you bring it. Yeah, but it's funny you bring that word up. Like, I remember having a conversation not that long ago with somebody where they were like, well, that word doesn't mean what people think it is. It's not really a word that means to put down black people. That word can be used for white people also. And I'm like, no, it can't. Go read the fucking definition of the word. Go read the root of the word. Go read the origin of the word. That word does not mean that. Like,
right.
You might want it to mean that, but
that's something racists told themselves so that they wouldn't have to feel bad for using it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But I've heard that
my whole life.
That description or that definition, that wrong definition of that word many times over the years. When I lived in the South, I heard it all the fucking time, but
right. So yeah, that's just a way for racist people to be able to say the word, because when you call them out on it, they can say, oh no, I'm just saying that person is this. It could mean this too.
Yes. Oh, you're the racist because you think it only applies to black people. Right. Like, well, look at the root of the word and see where it came from.
Even if they were right, even if the root of it was not that.
Yeah.
If it had nothing to do with race. The fact that it was for the last 400 years has been used in that way. That word has completely changed. That it doesn't matter if the root of it was one thing, it is this now.
Yeah.
So and we're talking 400 years. We're not talking like 10 years ago or 50 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking for 400 fucking years. 400 years ago, our language was completely different anyway.
Yeah.
There are a lot of words that we use today that don't mean exactly what they meant back then.
Yeah.
But that word should just be erased from the language altogether, because that's what that is for.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but that's just my opinion.
No, what do you know? What do you know? You know nothing.
I know absolutely nothing.
You are Jon Snow.
I know less than nothing.
Yeah. Speaking of Jon Snow, have you finished watching Game of Thrones yet?
I've got 2 more episodes to go in season 6.
You've been stuck on those episodes for like 8 months.
No, I've watched a couple. I've been going slowly through season 6.
I don't even remember what happened. What point are you at in the storyline?
I don't remember.
Good job, Ian.
I kind of rely on the recaps.
Okay.
At the beginning of the episode. So, season 6. So, Sansa and Jon are together. They're wandering. The last thing I think I saw, are they going at? Have they met up with Daenerys' forces yet? I don't know.
No, not yet.
I've seen a bunch
season
of
6.
Okay, because I've seen a bunch of clips and stuff outside of the show, so I'm getting confused now. But Sansa and John are together, and they left the wall place,
Yeah.
and
The wall place.
yeah, wherever that place is. They left that place. Oh, maybe they're back at maybe they're back in what's the name of where they're from? In the north?
Yeah.
Maybe they're back there.
Oh, the Battle of the Bastards happens in season 6.
Okay, that's probably where I left off then, because I've got
Okay.
I take it back. I got 3 episodes, 8, 9, and 10 to watch. Because there's 10
Okay.
episodes, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm on episode 8 is my next episode.
Okay. Oh, that's a good one. That season 6 ends really good. I'll
Does
just
it?
leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think it does a good job setting up season 7. But whenever Ian's been on this track to watch Game of Thrones for like
2 years.
2 years. So
No, almost 3 actually. So I started it near the once we were into the pandemic a bit.
okay. So 3 years.
Just
3 years watching it.
I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad show.
You have been on the record multiple times about how you don't like the sword and sorcery stuff. So there's a lot of that in.
There is, but that's not a turnoff to me, because there are things like I like Lord of the Rings and I like Willow. That's sword and sorcery. And you could argue that Star Wars is just sword and sorcery in space.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's more the extreme violence, and that it was because I was binging it, so it was just like episode after episode with
You get heavy.
the Baratheon guy. He's a piece of work.
Yeah.
And I think that's his name, right? Baratheon,
Yeah.
the one who
Stannis.
Yeah. Once it got to the point where he married Sansa and did what he did to her, I was just like,
You're talking about no, what was his name? That wasn't Baratheon. It was the hell was his name?
I don't know. He's the bastard. That's who the Battle of the Bastards is, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So that guy, whatever that guy's name is, he cut off
Ramsay,
yeah.
Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
Ramsay Bolton is who you're thinking of.
When he
Winterfell is there where they live.
Once he married Sansa and what he did to her, I was just like, I can't. I need to take a break from this.
He's got a good death coming.
Good, deserves it. More than most of the other people who died.
He's got a good death coming, but yeah, the end of season 6 is really good. Yeah, finish watching that out. But whenever Ian's like done, we'll do an episode where we'll talk about it all.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Because I think
this year for sure.
I'm trying to think if I don't know if it's season 6. Oh, season 6 has probably one of my favorite episodes in it.
Which one was that?
The Door. Did you watch that episode?
Yeah,
that was really good.
Where they were hitting the history of
Hodor, yeah. Which I was kind of, you're like, oh, that's pretty. That's like one of the saddest points in the.
It really kind of is. It's like he was fine, and then Bran fucked him up.
Yeah, exactly. Hold the door.
Yeah.
But let's probably move on to our topic, since we've been talking about this for. We've been rambling on for like 20 minutes now. So, I remember when we started the show, these are supposed to be like 35, 40-minute tops episodes. And I don't think we've had any episodes this short. And we're pushing 30 minutes right now.
Well, we are on a time frame with this recording session, not just this episode, but this session of recording. So
yeah, because we're recording before I go to work. So,
right, so the next episode might be a really short one.
Yeah, it might be. So. Yeah, because it's I got a couple hours to have to leave for work, so it might not be that bad. But
all right.
So I think we both kind of grew up Metallica fans. I wasn't a big Metallica fan until probably just before the Black Album came out. I remember seeing, I think it was the video for One off of Injustice for All that got me into Metallica. It's a fantastic song. It's a fantastic video. And then, of course, when the Black Album came out, I became a huge fan of that album. Load and Reload. There's definitely really good songs off of those, but they didn't quite live up to that. Right. And then I haven't been a huge fan of anything that they've done since then. I think they've done some good albums. I think Hardwired to Self-Destruct is a better album than anything that they've done since Reload, I think. But
Well, I was never a big fan of Reload. Overall, I mean, Load's fine. I like
yeah,
Load, but Reload was one that was like definitely more of a hit or miss album
yeah.
for me.
I guess I was like, Load and Reload are kind of funny. So I guess to be, straightforward, we're gonna talk about kind of what the legacy of Metallica is, but specifically with like Load and Reload, I've always looked at them as one album because I
They
think
kind of are. Yeah.
Reload is just like the extra tracks that weren't on Load.
Right.
So I guess Load and Reload. I think it's the Hardwired was the best album since then. I guess that's why I said Reload, but because I think you're right. Load is a much better album than Reload. But I've gone through their new album, 72 Seasons, just came out this past Friday, and I've gone through the album once fully.
Right. That's all I've done too. Is one go through.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I don't know how I really feel about it yet. I think I've got to listen to it a couple more times. I really like a couple of the singles that they released.
I do too. I like the whole album actually, but I'm with you. Yeah, I kind of really need to give it, sit with it at least 3 or 4 good full listens.
Yeah,
before I can establish where I feel it fits in with the rest of the catalog.
yeah.
But I'm very impressed with it overall with the first listen. My first reaction is very positive.
Yeah. I think just like the first time through it, I could easily say that I think it's the best album of the 2000s. Now granted their output in the 2000s has not been a whole lot. It's been what, 4 albums?
4 albums. But to be fair, there's only 5 albums before that, right? Or
That's true. That's true.
Was it 5 albums? No, it was 6
because
albums.
because this is their 11th. 72 Seasons is their 11th album. But I thought it was funny that I saw somebody on Facebook post that they thought it was Metallica's best album since Death Magnetic. And I was like,
well,
Death Magnetic. And I was like, fuck, there's only been 2 albums. Like,
right. Well, this is the second. This isn't even...
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's funny to say that. You're like,
I was thinking about it leading up to this conversation because I really like Death Magnetic and I really like Hardwired to Self-Destruct. But I was thinking about it and I'm like, do I like Death Magnetic because it's overall it's a great album, which it's a good album, but do I think it's good? Like, do I like it more because I think it's a better album, or is it just because it's coming off of Saint Anger and it's such an improvement over that?
That's possible. I don't know. That's a good question.
And I shouldn't say improvement. Saint Anger is what it is. There's some good songs on it. It's the direction they took with the style they went with.
Yeah.
There's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It is not a bad album. It's just not what people were accustomed to from Metallica.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Lars is beating on tin cans through the entire album.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they made choices in the recording process, artistic choices that just didn't work.
You know
what
they should have done?
That. That happens. But I'd much rather have a band try something different and it fail than for them just to do the same old shit over and over again for their entire career. So I get it. That's what
I would love to see. What I would love to see them do, and knowing what I know about Lars, this will never fucking happen because he would never admit that something different should have happened. But
unless it was something he didn't do.
Exactly. I would love to see them do what Pink Floyd did. So when Pink Floyd released A Momentary Lapse of Reason, back in the early, or was it 86? 87 when they came out. They used, or David Gilmour used a bunch of studio musicians on that album. So Nick Mason, who's the drummer of Pink Floyd, played very little on that album. So when they released the later years box set, Nick Mason went back and re-recorded his drums for the entire album. I would love to see Metallica do something like that with Saint Anger, and do a whole new release with it and call it Saint Anger Part 2, whatever the fuck you want to do, and actually have Lars play regular drums throughout the entire fucking album and
Right.
see how big of a difference it makes in the sound.
Right.
Because I think it'd
Well,
be huge.
Ian Anderson said that he wanted to do the same thing for Under Wraps. He wanted to go back and re-record the album with a real drummer.
Yeah.
He would like to do that. He can't. His voice, he couldn't sing those songs.
No.
That doesn't mean they
You
can't.
don't actually. You don't. He doesn't need to sing shit.
No, I know. He can
He
just
can
have someone re-record the drums and just mix it in. But he
Yeah.
was talking about he really wanted to just re-record
Redo the whole album. Yeah.
because he
Which he
wanted
could do
to. No, not now. I mean, they honestly they could just the same way, just use his old vocals, re-record all the music and just
Yeah.
to his vocals, his original vocals. They could do that, but
I think it would take I think too much away from the song. I think just
could.
doing something like
it could
just re-recording the drums.
because really it's the drums are really what most people don't like about it.
That's
I don't
what I
necessarily
don't.
have a-
It's what
Yeah.
I don't like about the album. Also,
Yeah, because the technology wasn't there, but he was
no,
again, it's a situation where you have an artist who's like, well, there's something new, let's play around with it.
yeah,
It made it, I think it worked for the most part, but commercially didn't work,
yeah.
so I get it. And but yeah, I think if they just re-recorded the drums and left everything else the same, it should work. The problem is that you still have a lot of early day synths and stuff going on, but it should still work.
They can take.
A lot of
They
those
can.
synths they're still using today.
Yeah.
A lot of those
Well,
synths
that's all I was gonna say is like you can take and redo whatever you want. I mean, it's all in separate tracks.
right.
So
Yeah.
So
I
that's
agree.
why I would like to see them do. But like I said, Lars never in a million fucking years will admit that something that he did that he was responsible for was the wrong step, was the wrong move.
I want to say there's somebody who did do that. They took the songs and played the drums normal on YouTube, and or at least like one or two songs just to see what it would sound like.
Yeah,
I want to say that's out there. If you're curious, maybe check it out. I'm going
yeah.
to.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it.
So,
but I mean, because I think like going back and re-listening to Saint Anger within the last year or so, it's the drums. It's the drums I cannot fucking stand in that album.
right.
So
Yeah, because it's just this open. I don't know. It's just it sounds.
It sounds hollow.
It
sounds
does
hollow.
sound hollow, but it's. I don't even know what they were trying to accomplish, but it was something different,
Yeah.
I mean, we both acknowledge that musically, stylistically, overall, they were trying to recapture something that was like the Kill 'Em All era.
Yeah, because there was such a backlash. There was such a backlash in the mid '90s about them cutting their fucking hair, and I don't remember if it was on Load or Reload, but they recorded a fucking country song. They did all sorts of stuff on those two albums that pissed a lot of their fans off.
Right.
And God forbid Lars couldn't fucking stand it. So they were going to go back and do an early 80s thrash album.
Right.
And it just didn't work.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, theoretically, it could just be the drums.
Yeah.
That didn't work. But
yeah, but it's one of those things. Like I said, we'll never know. Like I said, I'll just go on YouTube and see if I can track down that video because I'd like to hear it, but we'll see. But what is the overall legacy of Metallica? I think it's primarily those first 5 albums, right? Yeah.
Yes. Well, if Metallica was the first, well, we'll say thrash or really truly heavy metal band to get the mainstream.
Yeah.
Because you really can't. I mean, yes, Black Sabbath, they're the godfathers of metal, but they are not metal by that standard.
No.
You could argue that they're doom metal, but they're just really hard rock that what they did is what became metal. So the legacy of Metallica really is just that making that harder edge metal music more mainstream.
Yeah. I will say so I've always kind of considered definitely the first album, and then probably quite a bit of Ride the Lightning, more on the thrash end.
Yes. Yeah.
But man, I saw this conversation on in a different Facebook group. That definitely wasn't going on in our Facebook group, but in another Facebook group just recently about that topic. And man, like thrash metal fans were like fucking destroying Metallica, and oh, they were never thrash and all this other, you know, it's weird how metal and thrash fans gatekeep their music. Like
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that before.
metal fans are some of the fucking worst people out there
Mhm.
with that.
Right. Well, like you've pointed out too, another, I don't know if on this channel, but on other things we've talked about in other channels, you said that for most metal fans, metal exists from like 1981 till about 1986, 87, maybe 88. That's it.
Yeah,
There's
that's it.
nothing, anything outside of that just doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
It's not
Yeah,
metal. It's not, it's blasphemy, or it's you
yeah,
know, just false. It doesn't exist.
yeah. Which, like, yes, that was a very specific time in metal,
Right.
but there's still great metal today. Like, I'm not gonna say great metal because I'm not a fucking metal fan, but
Right.
even though I do have Metallica albums and Black Sabbath albums, and
Well,
I know a lot of people don't consider ghost metal, but I do. But
they are. I mean, they, for the most part, they're kind of under that umbrella. But the
yeah,
nice thing about ghosts is they kind of play around with
fluctuate. Yeah,
they play around with the different subgenres a little bit.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But I think if you're one of those people that say, look, metal exists from like 1981 to 1989, let's say,
right.
and everything after that is bullshit and fake, like you're missing out on a lot of great fucking music.
I agree. I agree. Because once you get into like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Pantera, but I mean, they're metal, right? And that was
Yeah.
their 90s.
Pantera started in the 80s, but
Yeah, but I mean, they got popular in the 90s,
yeah.
early
And I
90s,
like their
couple
first
albums.
album and a half was really good.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of
not a
anything
big
that
fan. I'm not a
that,
big
but
fan of them. But see,
Dimebag Darrell was an incredible fucking
oh
guitarist,
yeah,
though.
there's no question there. But for me, it's like I don't. It's not about genre or subgenre to me. If it's good, it's good.
Yeah,
If I like, I shouldn't say even that, because there's, good is subjective. But um, if I like it, I like it. It doesn't matter what subgenre it is. If it's metal and it came out in 2010 and it's good, I don't. It's good. I like
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I don't have to. You don't have to. Um, have such a narrow view on things.
yeah.
But
Yeah, and
what do I know?
it's like, but it's also one of those things. Like, I didn't ask you your fucking opinion. Like,
Oh, that's true too. you know, it's
I
yeah,
grant, and I get it. You're posting something on social media, people are gonna comment back. But like when I post stuff on there, it's like, and people aren't really nasty in our Facebook group. But when I post stuff, I post the stuff in other Facebook groups too, and get snarky comments. I just want to message back like, did I fucking ask you?
right.
I don't fucking give a shit about your opinion. you know,
Yeah,
but that's social media for you. It's like the cesspool that is social media.
yeah. I don't. But right, then that is what it is. But what we're talking about too, though, that goes back before social media. That
Yeah,
is,
but I feel
you
like
know.
it's gotten worse.
Oh, of course.
It's
Well, now
with
all
social
those
media.
people have a platform in which
Yeah,
to throw it out there.
yeah,
So yeah, that's social media has definitely made it worse. But those people have always existed. Those are the people who are like can't like Ozzy Osbourne because you know he left Sabbath, or can't
or
like
it's more like I don't, and I've seen this before. Well, ever since Ozzy released No More Tears, he he's been too mainstream or some shit like that. You know, I've seen that. I've seen the fucking argument before.
No, no,
Oh,
I can almost kind of see what they mean a little bit, but it doesn't take away from the fact that those are good fucking albums.
yeah.
What difference does it make?
And he's released a lot of good shit since then too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only miss that I think Ozzy has is Scream, and that even still has a lot of good songs on it.
Yeah.
It's just as a complete package, I just don't think it works. But it's got some great songs on it. You know, it's just not his strongest effort.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thankfully, he's had 3 very strong efforts after that. So, well, Sabbath 13, and then his 2 solo albums.
Which 13 I haven't listened to, but
You should. It's really good.
I need to. I've been looking for it. I've been trying to find it on vinyl, but I'll listen to it whenever I find it.
You haven't. I've seen it at Dearborn recently, like in the last year.
Every time I go in there, they don't have it. I look for it. But
that was one of the first records I bought on vinyl when I got back into buying new vinyl.
Oh, it was 13?
Yeah, I got 13. The very first one I bought was Speed of Darkness by Flogging Molly, but I think that was like my second or third one into my recollecting.
Yeah. But as far as Metallica goes, the interesting thing is about Metallica, they've been doing it for 40 years.
This year, well, yeah, they're this year it's the 40th anniversary of Omaha.
But how influential is Metallica
now,
or like ever? Like I
think
like, I don't remember, and maybe this is because I don't listen to a lot of metal. I never really did, but I feel like when I hear like newer metal bands from say the 1990 on talk about influences, I feel like they don't talk about Metallica a lot.
They don't.
I feel like they talk about Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden,
and then I would argue
other bands.
Iron Maiden and say Iron Maiden, Judas Priest are kind of in almost a sub category in a sense. They're metal, but they're a different type of metal, maybe.
Yeah.
Because they're not like what Sabbath was.
No.
But they're not quite what Metallica became either. So, because Metallica is obviously a different breed in and of itself as well. So, yeah, Judas Priest and Iron Maiden are kind of they're outliers, in just my opinion. They're outliers in the metal world because their metal's it's just different. I mean, Judas Priest is arguably like a slight hybrid of metal and punk to a degree. But yeah, Iron Maiden, they're just they're a different breed because I don't know. I'd have to really sit down and try and articulate that in a way, but I can't really do it right now.
Because even like scrolling through, I was looking this up yesterday after you left my house, and like even like a lot of articles talk about Metallica being one of the most influential bands. But I couldn't really see or find where bands were talking about Metallica in particular being an influence of theirs.
I would say that they probably, maybe not necessarily I mean, I'm sure they influenced artists. They had to.
Yeah.
Well, Tobias Forge has actually mentioned Metallica as an influence.
Okay.
So, in past interviews I've seen, he's mentioned them, and I have yet to listen to his version of Enter Sandman. It's supposed to be pretty good, but I would say that Metallica's influence is more on a structural level. They kind of created the blueprint for what metal could be in terms of mainstream. I think things like Headbangers Ball are part of that. It's
stuff that wouldn't have existed had not been for Metallica.
Because I think Metallica kind of started to set the groundwork. Maybe they weren't the only ones to do it, but they were part of creating that blueprint for mainstream metal, or at least having a metal influence in the mainstream.
Yeah.
And arguably maybe we wouldn't have gotten, as sad as it is, we may not have gotten, say, the grunge era mainstream if it weren't for having that initial blueprint of what would be considered noise music,
Yeah.
you
Because
know,
really,
going
because really
forward.
all grunge was punk music and metal.
Exactly. So, and then the alternative rock, which is very heavy by
Yeah.
comparison to standard rock, I think Metallica really kind of started that trend towards that. And if it weren't for Metallica and bands like Metallica at the time, but specifically Metallica, because they were the big
We wouldn't have
ones,
seen it.
we may not have seen any of that.
I can
At
see
least
that. I
not
can
at
see
the
that.
not the way we did.
I can see that.
I so as far as influence, I'm sure there's a lot of artists out there who are heavily influenced by elements of Metallica.
Yeah.
But I
I
think
mean, I've seen guitarists talk about
Kirk,
Kirk Hammett being a big influence of
yeah,
theirs.
because he's a monster on that guitar.
Oh, absolutely.
When
He's an
they let him
incredible
shred,
guitarist.
when they let him shred, and when he's shredding, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's more the blueprint for the genre itself in the mainstream.
I can see that. I can see that.
You know,
I can see that for sure.
that's how I see it. So,
Because
it's funny.
you're
I just put this in my. I got this sitting next to my desk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I just put this on my computer a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I got that and Death Magnetic here. Ironically.
I mean, if you want to talk about CDs here, well, I mean, people listening to the podcast, if you're listening on the podcast, he had a CD of Kill 'Em All in his hand.
And Death Magnetic. I showed it while you were back.
I've got Funky Divas by In Vogue sitting next to my desk, Ian.
I saw that sitting on your desk last night, and I was just like,
how about what is this? Fields of Fire by Corey Hart. There's another CD sitting there.
Does that have sunglasses at night?
It probably does. No, it does not.
It's not even worth the price you pay.
I know. Here's Room for Squares by John Mayer on CD. Here's some Better Than Ezra. My wife found all these at Goodwill, by the way. So
yeah, Better Than Ezra.
she paid like $1 for them. And then one really good one back was it Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. Great fucking album.
I never really listened to Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, it's a great fucking album.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a whole stack of CDs sitting next to my desk here, but
yeah, so do I. I just saw it was funny. I kept glancing over, going, "Yeah, I've got Kill 'Em All and Death Magnetic sitting right there."
sitting right there. Yeah. Sitting right there.
It's completely unintentional. Right on top too, because I do have a stack of CDs sitting here.
But it's like far as they're like 72 seasons, like I said, the first time through it, I don't think it's one of their best albums. I think it's a really good album, though.
No, I don't think it'd be very hard for them to beat the Black Album or Master Puppets or
Red Lightning. Yeah. Any of those 80s albums.
Yeah, it would be very difficult. I mean, they would have to do something like, I mean, that's kind of like catching lightning in a bottle twice. You just can't.
And bands sound on my voice crack there, but turning into a 12-year-old boy, the bands don't do that 40 years into their career.
Not generally, no. That doesn't mean that they can't.
I don't think ever. Like,
yeah, no.
I can't think of any band that created, one of their top albums ever 40 years into their career. It just doesn't happen. But
doesn't mean they can't have great albums.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't mean they can't have great albums.
But you're topping, like, oh my God, this is the best work they've ever done. Yeah, no, not that I can think of.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess we can kind of leave it there. I really enjoyed 72 seasons.
So far.
I'll give it a couple more spins.
Yeah, we'll come back to it with a full.
Oh, I'm sure.
One point or another. If not, both of us, maybe one of us will.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
But if you watch
you might have to go to the Vinyl Den too. We might do
I don't do fucking reviews on the Vinyl Den because people don't fucking like reviews. At least on our channel. Yeah. I've done a couple of reviews for really popular albums and people don't fucking watch them.
Oh.
So I don't really
that tends to be most of what I watch these days is just review videos.
Well, and that's the funny thing, Ian, because you don't watch our YouTube channel, so.
That's because there's no review videos on there.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and all that YouTubey kind of stuff that you're supposed to do. If you're listening to us on your podcatcher, leave us a 5-star review, and you can follow us on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page. And I'm dumb. I never put the links in the notes. I probably should start putting that in there, because it probably makes it easier for people to find us on Facebook and all that stuff. But
All right.
I don't know. Maybe I should probably start. I guess this is only like our, I don't know, 15th episode or something like that. So I guess it wouldn't be that hard to go back and do all that. But I don't know. I don't want to ramble on about that. I don't know. You got anything else to add? Well,
no.
Until next time.
Watch y'all later.
Peace.
Play my role, let me tell you about it. This shit right here, man, I'm about it. Only real niggas reside around me. Yo, lady, drop a guard around me. Dip like I know you can, bitch. Show me the ropes like we in the rain.